Who was supposed to be my dad?
It's not Mr. Moore. I had already moved on.
But the other guys that she says is father, I look nothing like.
And you don't look like,
and
she doesn't look like him either.
So I look like
I've never kept secret. I've always been honest to the best of my ability.
He left his phone in the Uber, downloaded the app on my phone, contact with his Uber. Tell the Uber driver I'll give him 100 if he
So you using your phone to get him an Uber, but you're using your phone to tell your boyfriend I'm running late, babe, I'm gas station?
Because by the time I found out, I was 4 months pregnant with her. You see what I'm saying? So there could be a list of whomever. It's the timing.
The list that is so missing out of my diary.
Really?
Yeah,
list
that's
that you
missing out of my
fabricated, you got in the book?
Where's it at? It's gone.
Jennifer Robinson steps up to the plate, throwing a curveball at her mom, Kathleen Harms, accusing her of cooking up a paternity fraud stew. She's adamant that her mom got the name wrong on her birth certificate and insists that Mr. Moore is her real dad. This spicy opener sets the stage for an emotional roller coaster.
This case of Robinson v. Harm.
Ms. Robinson, you are suing your mother for paternity fraud and are here to prove that Mr. Moore is your biological father, even though your mother, another man's name on your birth certificate. Ms. Harris, you're certain Mr. Moore is not your daughter's father and claim her case of paternity fraud outrageous.
Yes.
Jennifer is not holding back, folks. She's all kinds of frustrated about how long it took to crack the case of her father's identity, pointing fingers at her mom for keeping the secret under wraps. She's been on a lifelong scavenger hunt for the truth, which apparently was not on her mom's priority list, deepening the plot and her sense of betrayal.
Honestly, Your Honor, I don't feel that I'm the one that waited 36 years. I feel that my mom waited 36 years to help find who my father is. I have always, tried to ask about my father. I guess it was a part of her she didn't just want to bring up, so it always got pushed to the back burner. Or I was told, get the hell out of her, leave her alone, don't ask any questions of you know who your dad is.
In a fiery face-off, Kathleen swears she's been an open book, while Jennifer accuses her of editing out some major chapters about her dad's identity. The tension is thicker than a mystery novel, revealing layers of family secrets and heated emotions.
Who was supposed to be my dad?
It's not Mr. Moore. I had already moved on.
But the other guys that she says is father, I look nothing like.
And you don't look like, she doesn't look
me.
like him either.
So I look like.
I've never kept secret. I've always been honest to the best of my ability.
We were supposed to come here 3 weeks ago. My mom, for some reason, was nervous.
It wasn't that I was nervous. I just didn't want to come here at that time, listen to any more of their lies.
Jennifer whips out a birth certificate like it's a smoking gun, questioning whether the scribbles under father's name are legit. This piece of paper might as well be a treasure map, pointing to clues of forgery and deception, making everyone lean in a bit closer to their screens.
I think helps me prove that he's my father. First, I have
gray hair,
a birth certificate. On the father's spot, it has a signature. Now, when I looked at that, I seen that the signature looked new. It didn't look as old as my mom's, but I'm a kid, so I went along with it. Last year, I needed to get a new ID. So I go to get a new ID, and they told me that my original birth certificate was not good enough. I needed to get the new one.
Here comes Mr. Moore, striding in like he owns the place, ready to drop some bombshells of his own. He claims he's the daddy based on a history that includes more than a few close encounters of the intimate kind, adding a spicy twist to the already simmering pot. Keep your eyes peeled, because the truth serum is about to be administered.
Don't think you just a mess. He always told me he was my daddy.
We're here for Jennifer, Ms. Robinson, and she's indicated through her testimony that you believe you are her biological father. Do you?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
You do. Tell the court why.
Well, Your Honor, she used to babysit her sister's kid, and I used to go there a lot, and we were having sex a lot. It wasn't no little bit. It's true.
The moment of truth lands like a lead balloon.
It has been determined by this court, Moore, you are not her father.
Oh my God. Dude, who is my daddy?
Guess what just hit the fan? Ms. Luttrell spills the beans about her lifelong daddy dilemma, hoping she's cracked the code after a DIY DNA test. The judge lays down the law, prepping to sift through the evidence like a detective at a disco. Stick around, because it's about to get as wild as a squirrel at a nut factory.
This is a case of Luttrell versus Leaks.
Ms. Luttrell, you filed your case because you say after a lifetime of confusion of not knowing who your biological father is and receiving no help from your mother, you are now hopeful because you believe you have finally found your dad.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ready for a curveball wrapped in a mystery? Ms. Luttrell locks eyes with Mr. Leaks, the potential pops, for the very first time right in the courtroom. Their meeting is charged with more emotion than a soap opera finale, courtesy of Jerome's smooth moves.
I found him because I did a DNA test through Ancestry.com.
You have never met him?
No, I've never met him in person, face to face.
Are you ready to see him for the first time?
Yes, I'm really excited. I really would like to.
Mr. Leak into the courtroom.
Hello, Mr. Leaks. Leaks. Maybe go up here on the left-hand side.
Can you dig it? Ms. Luttrell digs into her tough childhood tales and the daddy vanishing act. Her stories are more tangled than headphones in your pocket, including a dad who went out for smokes and ghosted.
My childhood, pretty rough growing up with my mom being a single mom. My whole life, I always wanted to know who my father was.
What were you told about your father?
As a young child, at around 8 years old, I was told that father had went to the store, apparently was to buy a cigarette, and he never came back. That was the first story my mother told me.
Throwing a wild card here, the judge dives into the daddy drama, questioning if one of several men could be the father. Ms. Melody Luttrell admits to past flings faster than a reality TV show plot thickens, mentioning a co-worker and a classmate.
Say there are 3 possible fathers, one of which was a co-worker.
Yes, we dated, we got familiar with each other, and then it ended up in intimacy.
Did you ever tell that person you were pregnant?
I didn't know how to contact, and I had moved as well.
You also say that there was a classmate.
Things are heating up. Ms. Luttrell lays out how she matched Mr. Leaks on Ancestry.com, kicking off a family tree treasure hunt. The courtroom feels more like a reunion as they puzzle out the pieces.
You were having sex with all these men and you didn't even get their phone number or know their full name or where they're from?
Well, they were like short relationships, so I didn't know really where they were.
What happened with Mr. Leak?
It was a party that had occurred in my neighborhood. I got to know somebody, I don't know if it's him, but somebody that could be her father at that party.
This twist could tie a pretzel. Mr. Leaks throws cold water on the party tale, claiming he never crashed that particular bash. His denial throws a wrench in the works, contradicting mom's party animal anecdote.
Do you remember this party and this one-night stand?
No, I'm just looking at it right now thinking, okay, it's nice to meet you, but I was not at that party.
Were you ever at a party having sex with?
You know, if I have a child or anything like that, if I even know there's a chance I'll have a child, I'm sticking around. I'm not going anywhere.
You won't believe this bit. The judge reveals that back in the baby-making days, Mr. Leaks and Ms. Luttrell's mom were practically neighbors. Despite Mr. Leaks' party denials, the judge suggests they might have boogied at the same bash.
Where both of you would have been living during the window of, and the truth is you all didn't live far away from one another at that time. You were in Sacramento, Mr. Leaks. Ms. Luttrell, you were as well about 14 minutes away from one another. So, I mean, it wouldn't be inconceivable to think you could have been at the same party.
I wasn't at no party.
Now for the moment of truth-ish. After soaking in all the soap opera-worthy details, the judge gives the green light for a DNA test. It's more anticipated than a finale cliffhanger.
When you walked into the courtroom, Mr. Leak, you were satisfied possibility that she could potentially be your daughter, which says to me, sex with somebody, and then there are family members of yours that it is not so far-fetched that he could be your father, and then you say, well, if I'm not her biological father, somebody in my family is, because she's just like my mother to me.
Drum roll, please.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Leak, you are not father. I'm very sorry, Ms. Luttrell.
Opening shot. Can you even handle this? Ms. Pringle kicks things off with a bombshell as she hauls Mr. Brown to court, over denying he's the dad of their tiny tot, Tatiana. She's super stressed about him dodging daddy duties since day one. Buckle up to catch Mr. Brown's wild rebuttal.
Pringle, you open this case against Ms. Brown because you say he denied fathering your 18-month daughter, Tatiana. You state he has acted like she doesn't exist since the day she was born. You want Mr. Brown to step after today's result, prove he is father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Brown's rebuff. Talk about a plot twist. Mr. Brown fires back, branding Ms. Pringle as the unfaithful one, and doubles down that Tatiana's real dad is some other dude. His bold refusal kicks the drama up a notch, complete with so-called medical proof. The emotional fireworks are just getting started.
Mr. Brown, you claim Ms. Pringle is a known cheater. Fathered the child in question with another man. You insist there is no way you are her daughter's father and have medical evidence to prove your case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Heartbreak Alley. Grab your tissues. Ms. Pringle, in tears, lays out the loneliness of solo parenting, pointing fingers at Mr. Brown, the emotional whirlwind their daughter is caught in. As she makes her tearful plea to Mr. Brown, brace yourself for a revelation that'll throw another curveball into the mix.
It hurts really bad because I have to raise her on my own, and no child should go through that.
Can you look at Mr. Brown and tell him how much this hurts?
It hurts really bad that you're denying my daughter. She looks for you every day.
Bet you didn't see this one coming. Amidst the chaos, Ms. Pringle drops a truth bomb about a fleeting fling she had via a dating app, tossing even more spice into the paternity mystery stew. Hang tight as the saga of their rocky romance unfolds next.
I met someone on a dating site. We made out. That's what happened.
Or realized you were pregnant?
I went to a free clinic and I took the test and they said I had 4 weeks and 3 days.
Pregnant?
Yes.
And then you called Mr. Brown?
Yes, and I told him I was pregnant.
Oh, the drama thickens. Flashback to when Mr. Brown was was all cheers about the pregnancy, only to hit the brakes and bail 2 months later. This plot twist digs deeper into the murky timeline of their love life. Stay tuned for an unexpectedly sporty demonstration.
He was happy, and we were together for like 2 months, and we broke up.
You were only happy for 2 months?
We didn't have sex at the time, like the conceiving time that she got pregnant, but we was broken.
At the conception time, you didn't have sex then?
No.
I don't know where he got his information from, but there's nobody but him.
We're going forensic. Both camps bring out the big guns with medical evidence trying to settle the paternity puzzle. As they move from teary tales to test tubes and DNA tests, get ready for a demo that might just crack a smile.
You say you both have medical evidence that proves your case. Ms. Pringle, you say you have medical evidence that proves Mr. Brown is Tatiana's biological father. And Mr. Brown, you say you have medical evidence proves there is no way you can be Tatiana's biological father. Can you tell me about your medical evidence that says Mr. Brown is in fact her biological father?
This is hilariously heartwarming. In a goofy yet telling moment, Ms. Pringle and Jerome, the ever so helpful bailiff, break into squats. Why? They claim it's a quirky trait that Tatiana inherited from Mr. Brown. Watch on for a dive into medical mysteries that's quite the eyebrow raiser.
What is the squat?
Like when I'm fixing on something.
Let me see.
I can do that.
Jerome! Now, Jerome, if you can do this squat, that would then help Mr. Brown's case that it may not be hereditary. Jerome, now can you squat down there like that?
Exactly how.
Oh, shoot!
Twist. Adding a spin to the medical melee, Mr. Brown plays the asthma card, noting it's a family trait missing in Tatiana. This sparks a chat with Dr. Gator, who sheds light on whether asthma can really hint at paternity. The emotional appeals coming up are total heart tuggers.
Okay, my medical evidence, I have asthma and it runs down in the family. My other kid has asthma.
Your other kid has asthma. How many other children you have?
I would have had 8.
Here comes the emotional climax. Ms. Pringle, in a raw outpour, begs Mr. Brown to step up as Tatiana's father, stressing not just the financial, but the deep emotional stakes. What's decided here could change their lives forever.
I want you to help me financially, emotionally, physically, to be there for her and show her what a guy shouldn't do to her when she grows up. You have to be there and teach her all these things.
The tension peaks.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are the father.
Mr. Reyes kicks off with a bombshell, doubting he's the dad of the adorable 11-month-old Moon, who he's been parenting like a champ. He's pointing fingers at Ms. Prickett's ex as the potential bio-dad, stirring up a real soap opera scenario in the courtroom. Buckle up, because this baby drama is just getting started.
You've opened your case today because you doubt fathered Ms. Prickett's 11-month-old daughter, Moon, raising Moon, but now believe you were duped and are certain her father is the defendant's ex-husband.
Yes, Your Honor.
In a twist worthy of a detective novel, Mr. Reyes demands a voice analysis test to check if Ms. Prickett has been playing the field. This high-tech truth quest aims to uncover whether there's been some behind-the-scenes action. Next up, the results are gonna drop some jaws.
Additionally, you petitioned the court for a forensic voice analysis test to determine the extent of the defendant cheating.
Ms. Prickett firmly throws down the gauntlet, claiming Mr. Reyes is definitely Moon's dad and she's here to prove it, hoping to glue her family back together. She's all in, folks.
Ms. Prickett, you claim you are certain that the plaintiff is Moon's father and hope to prove it, save your family.
Yes, Your Honor.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any spicier, Ms. Prickett drops the news of another bun in the oven. Mr. Reyes is sweating bullets over this latest plot twist as doubts and diapers pile up. Suspense is building. What's gonna happen when the truth comes out?
I see she's currently pregnant,
Yes, ma'am.
so this has to add to the stress. Mr. Reyes believes you're setting him up to raise a child that isn't his.
Joseph is definitely the father. I've never been unfaithful with him. He has a great bond with Moon. He is the father. This is insane that he even thinks that he's not.
Hold the phone. Ms. Prickett vanishes in the wee hours, only to say she was hashing things out with her ex. Mr. Reyes is having none of it, and frankly, neither is the courtroom. This mystery ride is about to go off the rails.
One of the things is that I woke up around 4 in the morning. She wasn't in the house and her car was gone from the driveway.
Well, it was actually 6 in the morning.
She got back at 6.
What
She could have been
Joe
gone for
has
hours.
to realize that I do have a child, my ex-husband. I felt like I needed to resolve issues with him.
In another you can't make this stuff up moment, Ms. Prickett is late because she supposedly turned into a good Samaritan at a gas station at midnight. Her story about a random dude, a full tank, and a crisp $100 bill sounds like a fishy fishtail.
I was working at a restaurant. She'd normally be there between 10 and 10:15. She said she was on her way and she stopped at a gas station. She was dodging my calls and my text messages. When I finally get a hold of her 2 hours later, this is around 12 a.m., she says that she was at the gas station. Random man randomly filled up her gas tank, asked her for a ride to his hotel and then gave her $100.
Sneaking out to meet the ex at 5 a.m. and not a peep to Mr. Reyes sounds like a recipe for disaster, or at least for some serious side-eye from the judge. This segment is a real head-scratcher, and you'll be scratching yours too.
He left his phone in the Uber, downloaded the app on my phone, contact with his Uber. Tell the Uber driver I'll give him $100 if he meets us so I get my phone. He says, I'll give you another $100 for doing this for me. So I was like, I was trying to, get it in contact with the Uber.
So you using your phone to get him an Uber, but you're using your phone to tell your boyfriend I'm running late, babe, I'm at gas station?
Drum roll, please.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Reyes, you are the father.
So we kick off with Mr. Griffin spilling the beans right out the gate. He admits he had a not-so-little fling with his wife's stepsister, Mrs. Richmond, while still hitched. Mrs. Richmond, on her part, isn't buying that she and Mr. Griffin cooked up a daughter together, and she's here to prove him wrong. As the gavel goes down, everyone braces for a roller coaster of family drama.
You were a married man who had a 2-year affair with your wife's stepsister. That relationship produced a daughter, but Miss Richmond claims you are not daughter's biological father. Lakeisha is here to support your claim. Miss Richmond, you admit to the affair with Mr. Griffin, but say the plaintiff is not your daughter's biological father, and you plan to prove that in court today.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, hold on to your popcorn. Mr. Griffin drops the bomb that he's been a bit naughty, calling his 2-year fling with his sister-in-law a dishonest mistake. Talk about a whoopsie. The judge isn't letting this slide and grills him on the nature of his so-called mistake, making it clear we're not just talking spilled milk here.
Honest mistake, Your Honor, but at the same...
Wait, now there wasn't no mistaken identity. You knew it was wife's
I
sister.
understand. No, I'm talking about me doing what I did.
Was it an honest mistake or a dishonest mistake?
Dishonest mistake.
How long did this mistake
It lasted, I'd say, about 2 years.
2 years?
I know a year.
This wasn't no mistake.
year.
This was a decision.
Exactly.
Here comes a tender moment, folk, or awkward, depending on how you see it. Mrs. Richmond reminisces about the time she told Mr. Griffin he might be the daddy. She paints a picture of him playing sim with the baby, holding her up to the light as if he's expecting a divine sign or something. This scene really lays the feels on thick, with more "Are you the daddy?" moments on the horizon.
He came over to my house, picked her up, and he went up on the stairs and he, put her up to the light, and he said, yeah, she could be mine. And that was the last we ever discussed him seeing her, actually, of me and him and about her being...
I never seen...
Coming to that part.
Miss Richmond Tykia, you're asserting in court that you have not seen Mr. Griffin?
I seen him one time when I was like 14 in my life. I spoke to him first time on the phone.
And just when you think you've got the plot, the script flips. The court's all muddled up with he said, she said about a DNA test. Mrs. Richmond swears the test booted Mr. Griffin from the daddy role, while he remembers getting a "congratulations, it's a girl" kind of result. Grab your detective hats because we're about to play Who's Your Daddy? Detective Edition.
She was young, because if it wasn't my daughter, why wouldn't the reason she come and tell me that she was pregnant?
You weren't together during the pregnancy?
After I got married, we never had too much contact because I got a relationship with another gentleman.
You didn't want to.
While you were pregnant with his child?
Hardly see each other.
She was trying to hide from her stepsister.
So, Mr. Griffin, how did you tell your wife that you got her sister pregnant?
I didn't.
Cue the violins as Tykia steps up and shares how this whole daddy dilemma has been a real bummer. Growing up not knowing if Mr. Griffin is her pops, it's a real tearjerker as she talks about the missing pieces in her family puzzle. But dry those eyes, there's a plot twist coming up that's straight out of a telenovela.
When I was like in high school, I got a message on MySpace from Keisha. Just a long little thing saying, I think you're my sir, and I'm just like who is this girl?
First got the message, were you overwhelmed with emotion, or did you?
I just thought she was crazy because of what my mom say.
Oh, because your mom had told you.
All I know is what my mom said.
All right, things take a somber turn here. Tykia shares a heart-wrenching story about her hubby's tragic accident, which happened on the same day she skipped a family wedding. It's a real downer, especially with her feeling all cut off from the Griffin clan. But keep those tissues handy, as we're not out of the woods yet. There's a moment of truth coming that might just patch up some broken hearts.
One of the other sisters, Griffin sisters, her wedding was May 21st, 2011. He invited me and my husband believed I looked like some of the other sisters. He was like, yeah, we should go. And I'm like, I don't know. And then I like the other people, like my sister and my mom, they're like, I don't think they're your family, so why go all the way to Michigan?
Get ready for some serious family feels. The judge nudges Mr. Griffin to give a fatherly pep talk to Tykia if he really believes she's his. It's a touching scene, sort of like a come to Jesus moment, but with more legal jargon. And just when you think you've seen it all, Get ready for the grand finale, DNA results.
I want you to look across the aisle right now. This is a woman, you say this is your daughter. And I want you to turn to your daughter right now, if you believe this is your daughter. And I'd like for you to tell the court, and more importantly, how you recognize what she feels.
I'm sorry, your husband, and I wish I had been there for you. I'm sorry for not being there for you.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Drum roll, please.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Griffin, you are not her father. 32 years of thinking you were this woman's father.
Can you even handle this? Ms. Myers strides into court with her mom, Ms. Madrigal, to solve the mystery of who her real dad is. She's frustrated because her mom handed her a list of 13 potential dads, like it's some kind of bizarre guessing game. Strap in, because this soap opera is just getting started.
Ms. Myers, you have brought your mother, Ms. Madrigal, to court today because she has no idea who your biological father is. You say your mother gave you a list of 13 possible men, and you are hoping to determine who your father is today.
Things just got spicier. It comes out that Ms. Myers got drip-fed names of possible dads over a whole year, turning her life into a real-life Maury episode. This bombshell has left her with more daddy issues than a daytime drama. You gotta see what's up next. It's a doozy.
And so at 13 years old, how did you find out there were potentially 13 different men that could be your father?
The list came from my mom telling me over approximately a year, maybe a little longer. She would always just say, you know, here's a name. I think to her it seemed like it was a joke.
Grab your tissues, folks. Ms. Myers spills her guts about how tough it was growing up without a dad, feeling all kinds of lost and mixed up. This moment is more loaded than a Thanksgiving turkey. But wait, there's more heartache ahead.
I feel lost. You know, I feel confused. I don't know who I am. I don't know my hair. I don't know what I'm completely mixed with. I don't know where I
For me,
yeah, I knew
matter.
you're half of the
Doesn't
family,
matter.
but that's only half
Nobody
the story.
Else matters.
That's
can't
only
no
half
man,
the story.
Can't no man raise me better than you can, though. It doesn't even matter.
You
So
raised me?
save it. Oh, I raised you.
No, you didn't. You weren't
Monica,
even there. So
stop it.
anyway.
All right, buckle up. The court rolls up its sleeves to get down to the business of figuring out who the real daddy is, testing 2 of the lucky 13 contenders. This is where the rubber meets the road. Brace for impact, because the drama level is about to skyrocket.
You gotta realize I was 17. So any calculation with time, I could have been way off and not known. Because by the time I found out, I was 4 months pregnant with her. You see what I'm saying? So there could be a list of whomever. It's the timing.
The list that is missing out of my diary.
Really? The
Yeah,
list
that's
that you
missing out of my
fabricated, got in the book?
Where's it at? It's gone.
Just when you thought it couldn't get messier, Mr. McCraney drops a bombshell about his brief fling with Ms. Madrigal that might have led to Ms. Myers' arrival on planet Earth. It's like a plot twist in a bad rom-com. Stick around, because the tears are just about to flow.
I also found out, Your Honor, that when she left my house to another man's house, and the same thing happened same day.
Yeah. This wasn't planned. Friend was
Your
going there to
Honor,
meet up
her
with his
and the
cousin.
same friend
That's
that
how
was
it
at
happened.
my house, his house. That's how I know it was the same day.
I was 13 and I was going into 14.
Your mother, Ms. Madrigal, stated that you the weekend at one of his girlfriend's house.
Oh boy, here it comes. Ms. Myers completely loses it, overwhelmed by all the family drama and secrets spilling out all over the courtroom floor. It's sadder than a bowl of melted ice cream. But hold your horses. The big reveal is up next, and it's a humdinger.
Because I shouldn't have to go through this. I'm 26 years old with my own. I
Doesn't
shouldn't
matter
have to go
because I'm
through
your
this
mama
at
and
all, for
that's
real.
what I've been.
So
You
I'm
tell these
not
people what
hearing
you want. They don't live in my shoes. I raised you and I raised you. So all this other doesn't even matter. I would die for you, so stop the rest.
Everyone's on the edge of their seats. The big moment hits when the DNA test results are about to be dropped like a hot potato. This could go any way, folks. The suspense is eliminating us.
When it comes to Miss Monica Myers, Mr. Keith McCraney, it has been determined by this court that you are the father.
There it is.
Faint, Mr. McCraney?
I what?
I don't believe that at all.
Whoa.
No.